Big Dream Production presents Looking Forward with Nataly. Episode 6.
Hi, I'm Nataly, and this is my show where we discuss on a weekly basis our dreams, our inspirations, everything that we believe is interesting and important. Today, I would like to talk to you about schizophrenia. First of all, because it's a very significant and important issue in mental health in generally. Schizophrenia is considered to be untreatable psychopathology by our mainstream psychology and by Western medicine. What about spiritual counselors? What they think about schizophrenia? They don't think it's treatable, but they think it's manageable to the extent that people with schizophrenia can actually live a normal life, go to work, have family, and die from natural causes, not from schizophrenia. This is completely different approach from what kind of treatment schizophrenia patients are getting from Western medicine. But let's start from the beginning, how people are diagnosed with schizophrenia. I'll give you a very simple idea of what it is. When people see something that other people don't, and when they hear something that other people don't, then probably they have hallucinations and delusions, and potentially they have a schizophrenia. Although it's not that easy. I have a book, it's called DSM-5, and it's used by all psychologists and psychiatrists in the United States of America to diagnose certain psychopathologies. Schizophrenia is included. According to that book, not only you have to have either hallucinations or delusions, you need to have a lot of other symptoms for certain period of time that altogether will allow doctor to diagnose you with schizophrenia. How people who've been preparing DSM-5 come up with that idea and with that particular process for diagnosis of schizophrenia. There were a lot of research done, of course, and many different opinions were considered, including certain theories like dopamine theory. This is one of the most well-known and well-accepted theories in psychopathology that suggests that symptoms of schizophrenia are related to the excessive content of dopamine in our body. That's why some psychotropic medications that are used for schizophrenia are related to the adjustment of the level of dopamine in our brain. However, it was recorded that changes in schizophrenia-related behavior are happening when people start taking those medications within few weeks, which is really long period of time, because other psychopathologists treated with similar medications providing much faster result, not within weeks but within days. And that particular situation triggers a question: if it requires several weeks, maybe dopamine level adjustment is not the cause of schizophrenia. So dopamine theory is kind of compromised by this. What other theories do we have? There are not so many. One of the theories saying that people might have genetic predisposition to schizophrenia, and scientists were trying to find that schizophrenia gene for years, and they were unable to do that. Now they're coming with the idea that maybe it's not a gene, maybe it's a combination of genes. They still don't know what kind of combination is required, what kind of genes involved. So basically, genetic predisposition is not the working theory that would explain the cause of schizophrenia. Only 1% of the population will develop schizophrenia. 1% of the population around the world. It's a huge number of people suffering from hallucination and delusions. It's very uncomfortable to see someone so disturbed and confused next to you. Sometimes it's a life sentence for many relatives of those people. Sometimes it's a burden of their mothers, of those people who are involved. For mothers, the most disturbing thing is to consider what will happen with their son or daughter when they're gone. The way how medicine is handling that, those people are prescribed medications. Medications are prescribed based on the theories that prove to be inaccurate. like dopamine theory, like genetic predisposition theory, but that's all there is. There are psychotropic medications that are reducing or eliminating certain symptoms of schizophrenia, but causing huge, enormous side effects. In addition to that, there is huge social stigma attached to people suffering from schizophrenia. There are a lot of organizations trying to help those people and dealing with them. I asked Dr. Benton, who was dealing for many years with people from the Skid Row suffering with schizophrenia, what would be her solution while she's helping them.
A lot of the people we get are from Skid Row. They're homeless, they're chronically and persistently mentally ill. They come in with just ordinary problems, just sadness or anxiety, or have maybe broken up with their husband or broken up with their wife, recently lost their employment. Skid Row. Someone asked me that, how did it get the name Skid Row? I think every city has what they call a Skid Row, and it's usually a place where people who have what we would call fallen through the cracks of life. I'm a safety net for them. They can always come home. Some people don't have safety nets, so when they fall straight to the bottom because there's nothing to catch them.
And that's where it is, Skid Row.
Yes, and Skid Row is like what people look at as like the bottom. It's like you have no one to catch you, and this is where you land. In places like Lamp and Skid Row is not just a place; it's also an emotional mindset.
Basically catching people in the hardest moment of their life.
In the hardest and the roughest time of their life. And for some people it's been 1 month, or for some people it's been 10 years. They've experienced a lot of rejection. They're what I call the invisible society. People walk by them every day, never speak to them,
Right.
never touch them, never hug them. They don't get hugs for years.
What we saw right now is her personal opinion. Dr. Benton told me that many people are refusing the medications. They don't want to feel like they are vegetables. They want to feel active, they want to participate in real life, and they want to have some meaningful treatment available to them, which might be provided, believe it or not, by the church. But there is some very complicated situation right now, because the book that I just showed you, DSM-5, is constantly developing based on new research. And modern research in regard to schizophrenia has a very strange tendency to make religious belief as one of manifestations of schizophrenia. This is dangerous, because imagine that one day the new edition of DSM will be published, and it will say that people following certain religion beliefs, for example, Christianity, are considered to be schizophrenics because they are talking to their God, they are hearing things that other people don't hear, because they believe in visions, and that means they are seeing something that other people don't see. And then it might be considered a sufficient cause for placing that people in involuntary treatment. So religion might be under the threat from the point of view of modern psychology when we are discussing schizophrenia. Think how dangerous it might be. On the other hand, religion is the only philosophical concept that provides people with schizophrenia some hope. And it's true that in Christianity we do believe in communication with God. God is talking to us. So we definitely hear something that other people don't. Not necessarily we in person. We believe that Moses, for example, spoke to God. So he saw something that other people didn't see, and he heard something that other people don't see. Let's look at the story of Moses and analyze it from the point of view of modern understanding of schizophrenia.
When all the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance to the tent, they would stand up and worship, each one at the entrance to his own tent. Thus, the Lord would speak to Moses, face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. Then Moses would return to the camp, but his young assistant Joshua, son of Nun, would not leave the tent.
So now you can clearly see why people who don't believe in God and who actually hate Christianity, why those people can target Christian community. That is a dangerous tendency. And I want you to be very visual of it. I also want you to know that religion has thousands of years of experience of dealing with people with schizophrenia, with delusions and hallucinations, not related to connection with God, but related to connection with other entities. The whole difference between religious approach to schizophrenia and Western medicine and modern psychology approach to schizophrenia would be the general assumption. Modern Western medicine and mainstream psychology assume that whatever people see and hear that other people cannot see and hear. They assume that this is a sick imagination of their affected by the disease brain. The religion is coming from a different point of view. Religion assumes that whatever they see and whatever they hear is true, is the reality. It's just the other kind of reality. And that's why what Christian counselors were doing for hundreds and perhaps thousands of years, they've been teaching people who, for example, hearing some voices, they've been teaching those people to deal with those voices. According to the spiritual counselor, voices are coming from outside and they might belong to different entities. And those entities might not have your best interest in their mind. That's why some people, when they explain what they're experiencing, they're saying the following things. Let's listen.
I'm a sister of a young man that has this illness. What a battle it is. For all of us, but most of all, him. He has shown such strength for a long time fighting the voices. He has a lot of frustrations, mostly because of the fact that he has lost the real him forever. He is my hero.
I usually want to do good, for the people around me, and make them happy, but some days it's like there's someone else, inside of me, that just wants to harm people. I hear voices, telling me that I should kill someone, to take a knife and go outside. Can anyone tell me why I'm like this, or what I should do?
So, this is a person that is suffering schizophrenia symptoms. And that person is saying that he is hearing some voices suggesting that he needs to go and kill someone. So now, if he's talking about it to his psychiatrist will provide psychotropic medications, but at the same time, that person will suffer a lot of side effects. They're so gross and they're so numerous that I cannot even describe you everything in like 5 minutes conversation, but I'll give you some idea. That might include developing tremor of the hands, that might include bedwetting, constipation, dizziness, confusion, seizures, sexual dysfunction, liver disorder, heart problems, and this is just a few. So people are trading potential discontinuance of the symptoms for all the combination of those really gruesome side effects. And as a result, they don't have normal life. They will not be able to have a family and relationship. They will not be able to maintain some work. What religion is offering? Religion is teaching those people how to handle those voices, how not let those voices to approach them on a closer distance, how to ignore them.
I believe, I used to have schizophrenia myself. I had these voices, talking to me, telling me to commit suicide, or go to school, and bash my best friend's head into the locker, until she bled to death. Needless to say, that scared me very much. I never went to seek help though. I ignored the voices and the voices have went away.
If you remember one of the most amazing movies on the topic of schizophrenia, that was Beautiful Mind. That was the choice of the hero of that movie. He acknowledged his problems, with delusions and hallucinations. He understood that it's not his reality, and he chose not to act on those entities. That was his solution, and that was actually Christian solution. That is the solution that Christian counselors are offering to people suffering schizophrenia for years. Not to mention that many religious leaders are suffering from schizophrenia because they are telling us, and we believe them, that they are talking to God, getting information, getting visions, and we pray for it. So now you see how dangerous is our situation as Christians, because part of our belief is described in this book as the symptoms of psychopathology. And the new revision of the book is preparing right now. We have to be very articulate about our position. We have to defend our right to experience what we experience. And we have to do a lot of research in order to support our position. I'll tell you one thing right now. Out of Western medicine, mainstream psychology, and religious counseling, spiritual counseling, religious spiritual counseling is closer to the modern day science than everyone else.
Symmetry is a fundamental part of geometry, nature, and shapes. It creates patterns that help us organize our world conceptually. We see symmetry every day, but often don't realize it. People use concepts of symmetry, including translations, rotations, reflections, and tessellations, as part of their careers. Symmetries in quantum mechanics describe features of spacetime and particles, which are unchanged under some transformation. As everyone knows, symmetry leads to stability. However, the state of stability is almost unachievable, at least for a significant period of time. Thus, our life can be described as our constant attempt to reach stability, which process is interrupted by symmetry breaking. Symmetry breaking is an important process in both biological evolution and the evolution of the universe as it moves in time through different eras. Wherever structure becomes more complex, symmetry, or at least the original symmetry, is lost. The existence of parallel universes is based on the principles of symmetry. From psychology point of view, we desire to have our life symmetrically organized. Deviation from symmetry is causing people to suffer psychological disturbances that are described as psychopathologies.
The whole entire theory of quantum mechanics is based on the idea of symmetry as a natural manifestation of things in the universe. Think about it. We always have some pair of something. For example, if we have matter, we should have antimatter. And scientists, if one matter is visible, the other matter is non-visible. It should always come in pairs. And the breach of symmetry is dramatic. If matter and antimatter are colliding with each other, the huge explosion is happening. We live in multiverse. That multiverse is real. Every single time we think about something, the new dimension is born. It might be weak, it might die in a second or millisecond, but it is born. So every time we make a choice, we create a new universe. And if we have a new universe, then there should be another parallel universe to that universe. So we live in multitude of possible dimensions that are coexisting with each other physically in the same location. What if that parallel status is somehow breached? What if our parallel universes created by our thinking, created by our choices, created by our dreams, by the way? What if those parallel universes, what if they are colliding? What happens then? What if you are a person who are experiencing that breach? What if your personal universes collided and now you can see and observe that process of the collision and you have vision of your actual reality and your parallel created reality, and it's all happening at the same time? Would it cause, for example, confusion? It's hard even to imagine what can be experienced by a person that is caught in that collision of parallel universes of his imagination. The problem is that our scientists are saying today that our thoughts are creating a matter. Whenever we think about something, the matter is created. And that's exactly what our Bible is saying. First was the word. What is word? It's a unit of the information. So that's how matter was created. We are right on the point with the modern science today. We Christians understand the connections of things on a universal level much better than psychologists and medical doctors. And why I'm talking about it today? Because the science continues its development. We have to watch it and we have to participate in it. The more scientific progress is made in that area of multiple universes, the better understanding of suffering people, for example, with schizophrenia, we will get. Because so far, schizophrenia considered to be uncurable disease, uncurable. Freud, who was describing schizophrenia as part of psychosis, believed it was uncurable. Many other psychologists were agreeable with Freud. For example, Carl Rogers, which is one of my favorite personalities, who created client-centered therapy. He believed that schizophrenia is a psychosis, and he believed that it's uncurable because it's not biographical. What he meant by that, by saying that it's not biographical, he was saying that psychopathology was not created by interaction of the person with his primary care givers at the early beginning of his life. I wish we can discuss with Carl Rogers modern development of physics in regard to multiple universes. And maybe from that point of view, he would develop a new way of treating schizophrenia. The other amazing psychologist who was discussing the concept of causation of schizophrenia was Murray Bowen. He was the pioneer in family structural therapy, and he developed a lot of understanding how family dysfunction is transferred from generation to generation. What he believed that schizophrenia happens in children when there are numerous of generations of dysfunctional families, and that will manifest in the child as schizophrenia. He was not supported in that position by mainstream psychology. Nobody was agreeable with him in regard to the causation of schizophrenia, seeing that as a manifestation of numerous dysfunctional levels in the history of the family of that person. However, if you think about it, Bowen was actually talking about different dimensions in the human history. And when they've been enmeshed all together, the child in that family has no escape, basically, out of that enmeshed dysfunctional reality repeated on multiple levels of different dimensions. I think that it was a genius idea of Murray Bowen, who envisioned the future of the treatment of schizophrenia. So far, the best thing that modern mainstream psychology is offering to people suffering with schizophrenia would be CBT, which stands for cognitive behavioral therapy. The idea is that what we believe in is affecting our behavior. So basically, by adjusting our beliefs, CBT practitioners hoping, and in many cases they reach the desired result, they're hoping to adjust our behavior. So from pathological behavior, we are going to non-pathological behavior. This is true with schizophrenia. Many schizophrenia patients are benefiting from that particular treatment. The problem with CBT is that CBT doesn't have long-term standing result. It fixes some problem right now, here and now, and in a short duration of time, but it's not fixing the problem for a long run. So even though it's effective to some extent, it's better than nothing. we still cannot completely rely on it in treatment of schizophrenia. Now we have a problem. The schizophrenia is so widely defined right now in our psychology world that there is a new term for schizophrenia. Now it's called schizophrenias in professional community. Why? Because psychologists, psychiatrists, medical doctors, they understand that the way how we diagnose schizophrenia today allows us to put a lot of different other psychopathologies under the umbrella of schizophrenia. And that's why the manifestation of the disease, of the psychopathology, would be so different in many different people because they are dealing with different psychopathologies. Schizophrenia should be researched more. We should do a lot of talking about it to give awareness to the society and to give hope to the people suffering from schizophrenia, because the hope exists. If you are interested in that topic, I definitely urge you to put some efforts into that, to talk about it on different levels, to make sure that we are not silent about that problem. Most importantly, we have to protect our religion, so it will not be labeled as a part of schizophrenia, and we will not be persecuted as Christians because we believe in God, because we believe that God is talking to us in our dreams, and because we believe in angels coming to us and guiding us to our best solutions and choices in our life. I hope that conversation was interesting, and I hope that you will use it as inspiration in your life. Thank you for listening. Have a nice, wonderful life, and I'll see you next week.
Workers Defenders Law Group is specializing in California workers' compensation and labor law. If you are injured at work, harassed, discriminated, underpaid, wrongfully terminated, you might be entitled to compensation. Call for free consultation 714-948-5054. Talk to a real attorney. The consultation is always free. And you pay nothing unless you win. This episode was sponsored by Dream Big Coaching. Nataly is a dream coach and a spiritual counselor. Nataly is offering private individual consultations and various support groups, including, but not limited to, dream interpretation groups. If you have any questions or want to request a consultation, please send us email at dreambigkingdom@gmail.com. This episode was sponsored by Dream Big Coaching. Nataly is a dream coach and a spiritual counselor. Nataly is offering private individual consultations and various support groups, including, but not limited to, dream interpretation groups. If you have any questions or want to request a consultation, please send us email at dreambigkingdom@gmail.com.